Hi, I'm Jeff from Turtle Beach. Many of you have been asking about how we create Dolby surround sound in our headphones using only 2 speakers. So in this video, I'd like to explain how we're doing it. In a typical 5.1 surround sound setup, you have 6 speakers, but the center speaker and subwoofer don't affect the surround sound. So in this example, we're only going to talk about the 4 speakers that do: the front left, front right, rear left, and rear right. So in our example, there are 4 speakers, but you're having to process all of this sound with just 2 ears. So how does it work? Well, when you're in a room and you're listening to the speakers play sounds, you're not just hearing the sound that comes from the speakers. You're listening to the sound as it bounces off of the walls, off of the furniture, and so on. Even though we only have 2 ears, we are able to locate sounds in 3 dimensions. That is, when we hear a sound, we can usually tell how close it is, and if it's above or below us, and if it is in front of or behind us. Your brain processes all the sound entering into your ears and creates a surround sound image of the environment around you. And as it turns out, that's the basis for how we create surround sound in our headsets. So now let's take a look at what happens when you listen to sounds through a headset. When you put it on, it covers up your ears and it removes all of the external sound cues that you were hearing before, and replaces those with 1 speaker over each ear. So that's all that you hear. Our headsets recreate the same sound cues as the room environment and play them through only 2 speakers, so you get the effect of having surround sound. I know it sounds complicated, but it's really not. Let me explain a little bit further. Imagine you're standing in the middle of a room with a sound source to the rear right. As the sound waves come out of the source, notice how they first reach the right ear, designated here by the letter A. Then, a short time later, the sound travels further and reaches the left ear, point B. This is the first cue your brain uses to tell you where the sound is coming from. It senses the difference in time between points A and B, as well as how your head affects the sound, and then processes this sound cue information to decipher where the sound originated. The technical term for this is head-related transfer functions, or HRTF for short. Next, the sound keeps moving, bounces off the walls, and reflects back. A short time later, the sound reflecting off the closest wall reflects back to the ears at point C. Then, a bit later, the sound from the other wall reaches the ears at point D. These reflections are additional cues that your brain uses to further localize the sound source. The technical term for these cues is ambiance, which is a general term for reverberation, echo, and other terms that describe sound bouncing off surfaces and reaching your ears after a time delay. So based on these sound cues, HRTF and ambiance, you can easily tell where a sound is coming from, even when your eyes are closed, even though you've only got 2 ears. And this is how we produce surround sound in our headsets using only 2 speakers. Now, let's hear some examples of this process. First, let's hear a sound in stereo. Put your headphones on and notice how it only goes between the left and right sides. Now let's hear what it sounds like with some HRTF and ambiance processing that turns it into surround sound. Notice how it moves in front of and behind your head rather than just on the left and right. This out-of-head experience is the difference between stereo and surround sound. Now let's check out a real-world example of stereo versus surround sound. We'll play you the same clip and alternate between stereo and surround sound. So that was the stereo clip. Now let's listen to that again in surround sound. You should be able to hear how it sounds much fuller and more immersive. Another unique feature we offer on our headsets is the ability to adjust the surround sound angles. This means you can change the positions of the front and rear speakers to compensate for the way your brain perceives the surround sound effects. Since the surround sound effect is based on your brain processing sound cues, it's dependent upon the anatomy of your ears, which is different for everyone. With variable angles, you can compensate for these variances by selecting between 6 different speaker positions and use the one that's best for you. Let's hear what variable speaker angles sound like. Listen to this sound as we move the angles of the front and rear speakers. We'll play the same sound while moving the front left speaker in 3 different angles, then the front right speaker, then the rear right speaker, and finally the rear left speaker. Watch the animation and listen as the position of the sound moves along with the speaker angle. Well, that about wraps it up. As you can see, you really can hear surround sound with the high-tech Dolby processing we use in our headsets. If anyone ever tells you that you need multiple speakers in each ear cup to hear surround sound, tell them that you know better. It's not magic, it's science. For more information on our full line of products, please visit turtlebeach.com.